The Grinning Man. Thousands of eyewitnesses across the world have reported that they have been visited by a strange entity known as the Grinning Man. The Grinning Man is often described as a humanoid figure with a wide, terrifying smile. This entity is sometimes seen wearing a top hat. People have seen the Grinning Man through mediums such as nightmares and hallucinations. One of the most famous encounters of the Grinning Man is known as Indrid Cold. Indrid Cold, commonly known as the Smiling Man, is an alleged humanoid entity. The nickname comes from the being's tendency to creepily smile at almost everyone that encountered him. The Grinning Man is reported to be human-like in appearance, though he is commonly associated with UFO activity and is sometimes believed to be an alien. It is also believed to be possible that he is connected with the Men in Black. In his first sighting, he was described as being over 6 feet tall and wearing a reflective green suit with a black belt. He has a dark complexion and small beady eyes set far apart. He was described as not having any nose, ears, or hair. A man by the name of Woodrow Derenberger first allegedly encountered this mysterious grinning entity in 1966. This unsettling encounter happened on a road in rural West Virginia. Naturally, Woodrow Derenberger reported this incident to the Parkersburg police. By the next day, the media frenzy surrounding the story took off. Derenberger agreed to be interviewed about his encounter on live television on WTAP. Taking part in this interview were members of the state police, representatives of the Wood County Airport, the Parkersburg Police, and a representative from the Wright-Patterson Air Force Base in Dayton, Ohio. For 30 minutes, Derenberger was asked questions about his strange encounter.
He first asked me what I was called, and I knew he meant my name, and I told him my name. And he asked me, he said, why are you frightened? He said, don't be frightened, we wish you no harm. He said, we mean you no harm, we wish you only happiness. And I told him my name, and when I told him my name, he said he was called Cold. That was the name that he was called by. And as far as I can understand, this was all mental. There was no spoken words from him. I knew what he was asking me, but yet he stood there and his mouth did not move. He had a smile on his face. He appeared very courteous and friendly. And after I talked with him a while, he told me he would see me. He said, we will see you again. And
after this bizarre incident, many have reported similar experiences within the same area. The media called this Grinning Man Indrid Cold. I myself, unfortunately, encountered the Grinning Man in a nightmare about a year ago. A few days ago, I was talking with my sister about strange things we have both encountered in nightmares. And I began to tell my sister about a nightmare I had where I was in a dark, gloomy, Victorian-era city. And in this strange city, I was being chased by a terrifying entity. I told my sister that this entity was very tall in appearance. The entity looked like it was wearing a dark cloak that looked like an old long coat made up of dark smoke. He had a large pale face, clownish in appearance, dead-looking eyes with a wide, creepy grin. And for some odd reason, he was wearing a top hat. The face and appearance of this entity looked very similar to the demon from the famous anime show Death Note. When I told my sister this encounter I had, she said that what I'm describing sounds identical to a monster from a horror movie by the same name, the Babadook. When my sister showed me what the monster looked like, my eyes lit up because it was identical to what I saw. It was disturbing just how identical this horror movie monster was to my experience. An entity wearing all black with a large pale face, clownish in appearance, sporting a top hat and a wide, terrifying grin. I myself have never seen this movie nor have heard of the Babadook. This prompted me to look into other bizarre encounters that people have had with this strange entity. On a Reddit post, one man describes his experience with a nightmare about a smiling man. He states that several years ago, I had a real bad nightmare involving a man with a hellish smile. When I woke up, I sort of chuckled to myself thinking, dang, that was a good one, because I don't get scared like that often. I got a glass of water, but before I went to sleep, something compelled me to draw a picture of what I saw. I can't explain it. I just felt like I had to draw it, and I don't know why. I had never done anything like this before. I've never kept dream journals or really paid much attention to dreams. It was dark, so I couldn't really see what I was drawing, but I finished and went to sleep. The next day, I saw the picture on my desk in disbelief that I actually drew a picture. I titled the drawing, The Smiling Man, which was what he was called in my dream, and I can't begin to explain how identical it looked to this common picture of him. Giant smile, dead eyes, exact same teeth and face. I went to Google Images out of curiosity, expecting to maybe see some vaguely similar, creepy smiling pictures. My world absolutely froze when I saw this image called The Smiling Man. I swear I had never heard of the Smiling Man before then or seen the picture. Sure enough, I read an article about this old myth of a smiling man, and it was completely new to me. Still can't explain what happened to this day. Freaks me out just thinking about it. Another Redditor states that he had vivid dreams of the Babadook. Since I was a kid, I have always had very vivid dreams at night. Some of my dreams are fun and lucid, however most of them are nightmares. A few weeks ago, I had an extremely long nightmare that lasted for about 7 to 8 years in my dream. It started with me being in high school. Me and a few friends got cursed by a boogeyman type of creature. An extremely tall man with long limbs, a large face wearing a top hat. He had black hair that almost reached his shoulders. Once we got cursed, he was with us at all times. We had to search up different steps to take in order to defeat him. There were clear guidelines. If we failed, he would kill all of us. By the time we managed to defeat him, he had already killed some of the people in the group. Years later, he came back. I was at the age that I am today, 25, and he started haunting me in a group of friends once again. Since I had already defeated him before, I knew how to do it again. However, his mere presence was absolutely terrifying. He was always around us and had the ability to shapeshift into a different body. The dream ended before I was able to defeat him again. What has stuck with me about this dream was that one instance where he was standing next to me, looking down at me. I looked up straight into his eyes. I cannot even explain how terrifying the look he gave me was. When I woke up, I was still a bit scared, and I couldn't stop thinking about the way he looked into my eyes for days. His presence was pure evil. Now, weeks later, I was watching TikToks and a picture of a movie creature called the Babadook came up. I have never watched the movie or even watched the trailer. However, the Babadook looks exactly like the man from my nightmare. This really shocked me because I've been trying to find out if people have had similar dreams as me, but the only similar one I've found has been about a shadow person with a hat. But this one was different. Has anyone dreamt of this man before? Of course, there are other famous encounters with a similar looking being wearing a top hat known as the Shadow People or the Hat Man. The Hat Man is a phenomenon in which witnesses report seeing a shadow entity dressed in an old top hat on some occasions and others with a fedora type hat, typically like a 1950s detective hat and sometimes a layer. The Hat Man acts like a ghost and is almost always seen there, just standing up. This form can simply fade away until the witness no longer sees it. This entity has no apparent reaction to people. For example, many people reported bumping into this entity, which does absolutely nothing for seconds or minutes. Then the Hat Man moves around a bit and just vanishes, as if it couldn't detect who saw it. This type of entity sometimes appears as a ghost by those who study this phenomenon. It looks like a ghost with the shadow of a person wearing an old-style hat. Many have reported that this entity feeds on terror and does not vanish. He simply walks away as any normal person would. A long time ago, one of my personal friends told me that he's encountered a Hat Man while being high off marijuana. He stated that he saw the Hat Man at night standing in his hallway, and when he walked by him, he can feel his energy. My friend told me that he had a very dark presence. About a year ago, I've interviewed a psychotherapist by the name of Jerry Marzinski who believes in the existence of demons. In the beginning of my interview, Jerry Marzinski stated that many, if not most of his patients who were schizophrenic and addicted to drugs have encountered shadow people.
What they report to me the most, both the schizophrenics and the meth users, were shadow people. They're three-dimensional shadows that can walk through walls. They appear they're darker than the rest of the room. They hardly ever speak. And if they can see their eyes, they're in worse shape. I would even use that as a diagnostic tool. If they saw their eyes were either lime green or red, not good colors. You know, but I never heard them hurt anybody. They would scare people half to death. You know, but they would never hurt anybody. But then, you know, that's one class of energetic being, and the Native Americans used to call them the Watchers.
So there's multiple.
Yeah, there's multiple.
So having this experience and reading about similar experiences of others has made me wonder if some kind of bizarre spirit or deity wearing a top hat actually exists in mythological stories or certain religious beliefs. And as strange as it sounds, there is. There is an entity in the Haitian voodoo beliefs known as Baron Samedi. Baron Samedi is one of the Elwa of Haitian voodoo. The Elwa are spirits in the African religion of Haitian voodoo. Baron Samedi is a Elwa of the dead, along with Baron's numerous other incarnations. Baron Samedi is usually depicted with a top hat, black tail coat, dark glasses, and cotton plugs in the nostrils, as if to resemble a corpse dressed and prepared for burial in the Haitian style. He is frequently depicted as a skeleton. He is noted for disruption, obscenity, debauchery, and having a particular fondness for tobacco and rum. Additionally, he is the Elwa of resurrection, and in his latter capacity, he is often called upon for healing by those near or approaching death, as it is only the Baron that can accept an individual into the realm of the dead. Baron Samedi spends most of his time in the invisible realm of voodoo spirits. He is notorious for his outrageous behavior, swearing continuously and making filthy jokes to the other spirits. The Grinning Man is quite bizarre, and I personally have no explanation as to why he wears a top hat. However, what I do know is that this entity, along with others, are unclean spirits. They are the spiritual wickedness in high places, as described in the Bible. These beings feed off the fear and negativity that they can cause. There are a few things that need to be done in order to get rid of these unclean spirits. Number 1, follow the most repeated command in Scripture, which is do not fear. There's a reason God repeats this in His Word more than any other command. Fear is the food source of unclean spirits. This is how they make you feel drained. To those of you who have experienced panic attacks and anxiety attacks, know and understand the feeling of being completely drained of energy, as if you've been working in the hot sun all day. The second thing you need to do is call out the name of the Son of the Most High, Jesus Christ, and ye shall be saved. And if the torment persists, Jesus states why this is persisting and what you need to do. He states in the book of Matthew that some spirits are very powerful and can only leave by the power of prayer and fasting. And what's interesting about this verse and statement from Jesus Christ is that this verse is not found in many newer Bibles that a lot of Christians read. I hope that you guys found this video very fruitful and interesting. Please let me know your honest thoughts in the comment section below. Have you yourself encountered the Grinning Man? If you enjoyed this and would like to support the content, I do have a Patreon. I've also recently came out with a book, and the topic of the book is a lot more lighthearted. The link for that is in the bio below. Again, thank you so much. Stay safe. God bless. And until next time.